There are 3 different payments where the deadline is April 15th. We're 1 month out from that deadline. I want to help you prepare for what's coming. You don't have a lot of time left, but you have a month. And so let's get as ready as we can for that April 15th deadline. Welcome to the Sunlight Tax Podcast. In this show, we're talking about taxes, money, and careers for self-employed people who have a big vision for changing the world with their work. I'm your host, Hannah Cole, artist, design nerd, tax pro, author of Taxes for Humans, and the founder of Sunlight Tax. If you're a creative, wellness, or mission-driven entrepreneur who wants to grow your business sustainably, manage your taxes, and build a stash of fuck you money so you can control your time and have a bigger impact with your work, you are in the right place. Hello, beautiful. How are you doing? Today, I want to bring you an episode that is super practical. Let's talk about what happens on April 15th, the cash crunch that I see a lot of people who work for themselves get stuck in, and kind of what the cost of that can be, but also ways to prevent it. All right. So it's my intention to help you understand why there is such a stressful cash crunch happening around the 15th, why it does not need to be that way, and what it is to move forward without that being your annual reality. All right, let's jump in. So one of the key things that you can do to manage the cash crunch is to actually get your books done and get your taxes done. I know, easier said than done. Those are both big tasks. I fully understand. And you may feel a lot of resistance. But one, getting your bookkeeping done is critical to be able to do your tax filing because you have to have those numbers in order to report and pay your taxes. So that's a task that is needed right now, right? Also, the other thing is that filing your tax return early is a good thing to do. I actually see a lot of resistance around people who know or, suspect that they owe a bunch of money on April 15th. I often see that those are clients who drag their feet and don't want to file their tax return because of this completely understandable psychological phenomenon of feeling like, I owe money and I don't want to pay it. I want more time to pay it. But I want to make something clear that you might not realize. Filing your taxes is a separate act from paying, and you can file your taxes early as late January, and still not owe the payment until April 15th. So these are separatable acts. Filing your tax return is not the same thing as paying your taxes. Your tax payment is due April 15th. If you want just like a little more concrete example of this, when I, as a tax practitioner, am filing somebody's tax return, I actually will hit submit on the paperwork and then set separately a payment date. Okay. So that payment date it is possible to set it. And this is always a question I will ask the client. I can set that payment date to be now or soon. I can set it to be 10 days later to give the client time to transfer money into the right bank account. But by default, I set the payment date to be April 15th because I want every client to have the most amount of time they can have to pay. So I think it's really important to know that hesitation that, a lot of people sort of delay the whole thing, doing the work of preparing the taxes because of fear of what they might owe on April 15th, even though it helps you to know what the number is as early as you can. And that's not going to change the fact that you've got all the way until April 15th to actually make the payment. So I hope that is a piece of clarity that can just help you move forward, because knowing the information is critical to making any decisions around it. If you wait until April 14th to prepare your taxes and file your taxes, you don't have much leeway left, right? You don't even have time to transfer money into a different bank account for the payment. Okay, so it really, really matters that you know the difference there. Okay, knowing what you owe helps you plan, and it helps you gather together the resources, usually money, but sometimes planning, to make that payment. It's better to know than to not know. Even though I think sometimes when we think the news is going to be bad, we prefer not to know. It's better that you do know. The other thing I want you to know is that paying taxes every quarter, estimated quarterly taxes, are your friend. A lot of people avoid them because they don't like the idea of paying 4 times a year. They think that's a yucky thing without realizing that you may be paying penalties because you are maybe just setting that money aside in a separate account, but not actually making the payment. I want you to go ahead and pull out last year's tax return. Look at line 38 of your tax summary. It's the page that has your signature on it, and it's a line right above your signature. Line 38 is the line that shows you the estimated tax penalty. So if you want to just check and see like, oh, is it costing me money to not be paying every quarter? Line 38 is going to answer that question for you. So you can go ahead and check that right now and see if, in fact, that line is going to give you a hint that, in fact, you have to be paying your taxes every quarter. All right, the thing about paying quarterly taxes, it rewards you on April 15th. If you have been paying quarterly taxes all throughout the year, the entire goal there is to be making your tax payments as close as you can to what you actually owe. And the goal is that you don't actually owe anything on April 15th. That's the pleasure and the beauty. That is what you want. It's the entire goal. And so if you have been paying quarterly taxes, every single dollar that you pay throughout the year is going to come off your tax bill as a credit. All right. It's so wonderful. Also, don't forget to report it. I have had many clients who think there's an automation there, and there is not. You actually have to report what your quarterly payments were, or else you're not going to see the credit on your tax return, and it will be something that the IRS has to reconcile its own records and see that you double paid and then send you back the money. You don't want that. You want to just report it in the first place. So if you've been paying quarterly taxes all year, even if those estimates are off, even if the number is not accurate, that's okay. Taxes are for humans, not for robots, not for perfect beings, of which I've never met one yet, right? Every single dollar that you pay is going to be a help when it comes to next April. And so I really want you to understand that quarterly taxes are your friend, and they will keep tax day from feeling as stressful as it might be feeling right now. Okay? I also want to hold space for you if this whole world of estimated quarterly taxes feels like a mystery and you never got the information. I think that's criminal. We deserve civic education in this country, and that includes a great tax education. Personally, that is my mission. You can see that is what I do. But I think everyone deserves to learn how taxes work in high school. We should all be learning about estimated quarterly taxes from day one so that we don't have the experience of learning that quarterly taxes are a thing only because we face a huge debilitating tax bill with a bunch of penalties. And then we're like, oh, wait, why do I have penalties? Oh, because you didn't pay quarterly taxes and you were required to by law. All right. So I want to hold space for you if this is new information. I totally understand. It's okay. It's not your fault. But it is time. It is time to know. It is time to know, and it's time to take action. All right. There are 3 different payments where the deadline is April 15th. We're 1 month out from that deadline. I want to help you prepare for what's coming. You don't have a lot of time left, but you have a month. And so let's get as ready as we can for that April 15th deadline. Okay, what are the 3 things that are all due on that same April 15th date? Well, the big one, the one you know about, is your tax bill. Your taxes from 2025 are due April 15th. No extensions. You can get an automatic extension of time to file your tax return, the paperwork, but that does not extend your payment deadline. The payment deadline remains April 15th, and penalties for not paying begin April 16th, and they're daily. So it really matters that payment is due April 15th. Even if you file for extension, you are required to make some kind of payment into the system to cover what you think you owe. And again, of course, that's going to be an estimate because you don't know what you actually owe until you do the taxes, the tax return, the paperwork. That is actually the reason we do a tax return. Okay, so your bill from 2025 is due. What else is due? Your first estimated quarterly tax payment for 2026 is due April 15th as well. So that is a double payment deadline, okay? Super important to realize that. And if you haven't paid quarterly taxes before, it can feel especially difficult to get on board with that because you may be scraping the bottom of the barrel to try and get every dollar you need to simply cover your tax bill for 2025. And you might not have the cash to pay your quarterly taxes for the first quarter of 2026. You are already behind the eight ball if this is your situation. And it's a situation I really hope to help get you out from under because it's one that puts you on the back foot and into a precarious financial position. This is why I do the work that I do, because I see this pattern over and over again. And it is my goal in life to get wonderful, ethical people doing great work out of this backwards position so that you are forward looking, on top of your money, not getting crushed by these tax bills that are retroactive that you didn't have awareness were coming. Okay. You can have awareness they're coming. That is the point. Okay. Lastly, what is the third thing that is due that the deadline is April 15th? The last thing is the awesome thing, the thing you don't want to miss, which is funding your IRA. So your payment into a traditional or Roth IRA, the deadline for that to count backwards for 2025 is April 15th. Okay. Now, in personal finance, they have this phrase, pay yourself first, which is the concept that basically funding your future, funding your, financial security should be your first priority. It should be the thing you do first, and then let all the other bills fit in around that priority number one. That's what I mean when I say pay yourself first. It is a really good philosophy, and it is one that if you embody, you are going to have a lot more robust savings for yourself. However, if you don't get on top of quarterly taxes, if you're always behind on tax day, guess what you're not going to do? You are not going to fund your IRA, okay? And so paying yourself first, developing a habit of financial security, when you don't have your taxes managed, you are the one who gets screwed. You are the one who keeps not funding your IRA year after year after year. Those are the stakes. That is why you need to get on top of this. I say with gentleness and I say with empathy because I know we didn't all get a tax education and that this can feel really ugly and awful to hear. But I say it because I care and because I want you to have financial security and I want you to fund that IRA, get that huge tax break that putting money into an IRA can give you, either now or later if it's a Roth when you take the money out. Okay. So what are my takeaways here for managing this situation? Well, first of all, getting your taxes done early is helpful. If bookkeeping is the holdup to doing your taxes, I recommend you start that. Get started doing your bookkeeping because that is the key that will unlock you being able to get your taxes done. If you've done your bookkeeping, now it's time to do your taxes. All right. You want to get them in as early as you can. You want to get those taxes in now because then you know what you owe. Then you have clarity. You might not like what you're going to see. I totally understand. And that can be really hard. And believe me, I have been in that position myself, which is why I feel your pain. But having that number, knowing what you actually owe, that's the only way you're going to be able to manage it. You have to actually know the information. And from there, once you've done your taxes, you see what the total tax was for 2025. From there, you can make an estimate for your first quarterly tax payment of 2026. Okay. Only with that information are you going to be able to get on top of it. So I just want to hold some gentle space. I understand this can be really frightening if you know there's a big bill coming, but the only way out of it is through. Okay. All right. When you do that as early as you can, when you know what you owe, you can go right ahead. You can file that tax return. You're going to want to do that. I wouldn't hold off on it, but you can set the payment deadline. You can set the payment date to go through on April 15th. That's fine. There's no reason you need to pay as soon as you file your taxes. You set the payment date for April 15th. That's absolutely fine. And now you've got a month to prepare to make that payment. Maybe you have to get a new client. Maybe you have to do a little bit of hustling. Whatever it is you need to do, you want to try your best to gather up all the cash you're going to need for that April 15th payment. And don't forget to make your first estimated quarterly tax payment as well. And hopefully, if you run out of cash, if you don't have enough cash to make the payment for the bill that is due for 2025 and the first quarterly tax payment and also your IRA, put it on your vision board, put it on your goals for next year to be able to fund your IRA, and understand that getting on top of this bill is something that starts now. It's not something you want to wait until next year again, even though this pain makes a lot of us want to just stick that tax return in a drawer and never look at it again. That is the path to repeating this cycle over and over and over again. And you know what? That is an option. That is a thing that people do. I'm here to say there are people who do it over and over and over again. You don't have to be one of them. Okay? All right. So all year long, what I want you to do is understand making that payment April 15th, June 15th, September 15th, January 15th, that is your path out of this scramble. That is your path to make April 15th next year feel a lot better. And if you're curious why I spend so much time on this, of course, this is why in my program I do so much teaching every single quarterly deadline and so much guidance specifically at those deadlines. It is because this is the cash crunch we're managing. That is the whole deal, right? It's so important. And I see it debilitate people who are otherwise doing great, right? And so I think I just want you to understand what a big deal this is. You probably feel a terrible feeling in your heart, and there is a path out, all right? If you want help, just reach out to me. Okay. All right. I hope that was helpful. Get that tax return file, get that information. Knowing is your path out. Knowing is the way through this. So I really want to encourage you to get that task done as quickly as you can so that you know and so you can plan. All right. What's coming up? I've been thinking a lot about just teaching, which is really what I love. It is my passion. It is where I have the most fun and joy and connect with people, and I love it, right? And so I've been thinking about what that would look like if I just leaned into teaching even more. I don't know about you. I need more joy in my life in this world that we're in right now. So I've put on the calendar 12 different workshops that I am going to be rolling out. And I just decided I'm just going to do more teaching, and I'm going to do more teaching that is accessible to everyone, even if you're not in my program. I think I would like to just offer workshops every month that you can just join if that one speaks to you, right? So some of the workshops that I have planned and coming up are one on using tax smart accounts. I have one on investing 101, like investing if it's brand new to you and feels scary and you just want the basics of investing. I have one coming up on estimated quarterly taxes, which, a lot of us need an education in. So I hope that that's a popular one. I have one on money mindset. I have one on business setup or tune-up. So all those things you need, like LLCs, DBAs, business insurance, how do they all fit together? What do you need? What do you not need? What do they cost? How do you maintain them? Those really key setup things as you start or fix an ongoing business. And I have one coming up on S corporations. So if you have a big tax bill this year at April 15th, a lot of times that is the signal that it might be time for you to consider forming an S corporation. So that one is coming shortly after the tax deadline. So if you have that feeling, just put a little note in your brain that I have this workshop that might be really helpful for you to understand what an S Corp is, if it's right for you. There's a lot of bad information out there about S corporations. The internet is full of companies trying to sell you on an S Corp without caring that you're in a state that taxes back all the benefit and it's going to just cost you money and give you no benefit. So I want you to have the full picture from an accountant, from a tax expert. Anyway, so I just want to kind of put it on your radar that I'm going to have a series of one-off workshops coming, and I hope that they interest you. Send me a DM if you want to let me know what you think. If there's a specific topic related to taxes and money that you would really benefit from, that you'd like me to work on, I am absolutely open. I would love to hear your suggestions. If any of the ones I mentioned sound particularly good, let me know. I'm here to serve you, so I want to hear what would serve you the best. Definitely let me know what workshop you would like to see. I'll be rolling that out in the next month or so. I'm really excited about it because teaching is my passion. We don't have a tax education in this country, and I love teaching this stuff. It makes me feel so good, and it is a way that I can serve the community I care about. So I'm into it. All right. I hope that is helpful to you. Send me a DM if you want to give me some feedback on workshop topics you want to see in the future. And for everybody, good luck getting together all the paperwork of your tax return and making those payments. You got this. You can do it. And if you need the help, just reach out. I'm here. All right. See you next week. Bye. Thank you for listening. If you like the show, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend. It really helps. I'm so grateful. My tax guide, Taxes for Humans, is available wherever you buy books and at sunlighttax.com/book. This podcast is for education and entertainment only. Nothing in this episode should be taken as individual tax or financial advice. You can find all the tools, books, and links I reference at sunlighttax.com/podcast.